you know, something came up. And I have to, gotta get this thing done, right? So it comes to the top of the list, but it's not. It's in the backlog because it doesn't have a tag. So yeah, I gotta get this done today. So there, that gets thrown at the top, right? And it's gonna take me an hour, and it's part of project pay, let's say. So yeah, all right, that's the thing. So I do that thing, and I get it done, and I mark it with Alt-D, so then it gets checked off. So now it gets down for this recently closed to-dos.
Hi, I want to introduce to you this hqTodo Node.js app, I guess, that I use in conjunction with the To-Do Plus extension for VS Code because I really like keeping track of my to-dos in a plain text file. All that is explained in a blog article as to how I got here. So I just want to show you what this little web app can do and some features of the To-Do Plus extension, which I think is really cool. So look in the description for the blog article for more of an introduction, and now I'm just going to show you how to use the thing.
Okay, so here we are. This is the setup, and I haven't prepared a script or anything like that, so forgive the ums and ahs, but I have taken some notes here, the things that I want to talk about. And first, let me show you, I mean, you're looking at this and you're like, oh my God, what is this? So it's not as daunting as it might look when you look at it. This is just a text file over here on the left, but the extension does some cool things, automated, like this check mark and stuff is all automated with keyboard shortcuts. We're going to compare this to some other things. Like if you're in, it probably all started with org mode with Emacs, this kind of thing in a text file. You can do all kinds of automated things in Emacs, and you can do agendas and all kinds of stuff. You can even create documents, but this is mainly all that the To-Do Plus extension does, is it handles, you know, controlling tasks in a more automated way for your text files. I first started using Sublime Text. I talk about this in the article, and I really liked it. And Sublime, however, I don't use that at work anymore. We use VS Code because, well, we can do everything in VS Code, and it's free. And so the licensing is kind of cool. So this was written by a person named Aziz, and you can get it on GitHub if you want the Sublime Text extension or plugin. I forget what they call it, but if you want the extension for VS Code, it's written by Fabio Spampinato. I'll show that to you in a second, though. Right now, let's just give you the layout. So I've talked about why I want to do this, and well, the article talks about why I want to do this, but we will mark that done. Oops. With Alt-D. And then the orientation, we're going to talk about what we have here. So this thing on the left is VS Code with the extension. And we're only interested for this stuff on the right in things that are in this to-dos project. Any project titled to-dos is what's read. Everything else is ignored in this file. So that's why when I did the notes on there, you don't see it over here. And there's an archive at the bottom. When there's a keyboard shortcut you do to archive the stuff. I'll demonstrate that in a second. And there are labels to show when things need to be due. So let's just show how that relates to the things on the right. So labels. So the today label is the stuff that's in progress. The stuff I'm working on today is over here. And then stuff that doesn't have a label is in the backlog. And then things that I've labeled low is kind of like the icebox or frozen in a Scrum kind of terminology, is not shown at all. It's just hidden. So if you don't want to show anything, it's just hidden. And it's kind of small over here, right? So let's say I've gone through all these and I decide that I want to mark all these low. Let me just do that. And I save that and it refreshes. And so now we're just looking at that. So you can do stuff like that. All right. So that's kind of how some of the automation works, right? And then there's this archive section at the bottom. When things are archived, they're put down into this section over here on the right. This is the To Do Plus extension. This is the thing that I wrote, this hqTodo application. So this is kind of, I wanted a Gantt chart view of this kind of stuff, because even though it tracks, how much time is in here, the one thing that it didn't do is that it's hard to kind of tell in a text file how much time it's going to take for each thing. So that's why I have the Gantt chart, just to kind of get a sense for how long it'll take. So I can get everything done before my vacation. I have one more week before vacation starts, so that's great. Yeah. Okay, I talked about the labels and how they relate to the Gantt sections on the right, and now the tags. You'll notice these little @ tags here on the right. A cool thing about VS Code is when you put your cursor in there, it'll show you all the projects that it's related to, all the things that go for that project in the current section. But if you want to see everything that you've done by project in the end, scroll all the way down here. I'll explain that in a second. But by tag, it's grouped by tag in your archive. So this decide organizational requirements, that's going to be a big thing, and that's going to be down in the Woot section. There's some other things in the Woot section that I accomplished. So these are the kind of things I want to let my manager know about, because they were awesome, right? This other stuff is just kind of to keep myself organized about what I've done, and for certain scrums to show things I've accomplished for that particular project. But yeah, this by week, as you accomplish things, it will automatically, this is all from the stuff that's in the archive, it will automatically get sorted by week if you have weekly status meetings and stuff like that. And you can just hide this if you don't want to show it at all. This section right here also takes a look at the archive, because if you'll notice, there's this tag here. This tag is an estimate of the time it takes, and you can change that as the time changes. But let's say restructuring the archive of books only took me an hour, so and that happened on the 19th. It just put a small little tick up there. But this keeps track of how long you spent on projects, and I took a couple of vacations here in March, so things were kind of slow. I really picked it up here for a second, and then it got kind of slow again. This is just an example, but this is just for me to kind of get a sense of, is my slope still going well? Am I still doing, it kind of gives me incentive to work a little harder if I want to, if I need to. That's all that's for. And it's mostly, this stuff down here is mostly to give you a sense of accomplishment. That's the whole point of a to-do list, right? It not only does it organize things to get it here on the list and to get it out of your head and in front of you, but it gives you a sense of what you've done, and it feels good to knock things off the list. So let's do that. Let's knock something off the list here. I have to work on this. Support links to GitHub. Oh, okay, but something came up. And I gotta get this thing done, right? So it comes to the top of the list, but it's not. It's in the backlog because it doesn't have a tag. So yeah, I gotta get this done today. So there, that gets thrown at the top, right? And it's gonna take me an hour, and it's part of project pay, let's say. So yeah, all right, that's the thing. So I do that thing, and I get it done, and then I mark it with Alt-D, so then it gets checked off. So now it gets down for this recently closed to-dos. I honestly don't use this section that much because I archive almost immediately. And to archive, it's Control-Shift-A on Windows, Command-Shift-A on Mac. So let's see, am I ready to archive this stuff to show how that works? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Notice that the week ending of the 23rd, we have this stuff going on down here. Let me go ahead and archive the stuff. So it takes it out of these lists up here, and it puts it down in this list down here in the archive. So let me save that, and this is going to refresh. And now you see that we got that thing done here. It took a couple of hours, or it took just an hour, and it put a little tick right there. Not much of one, because this is for the whole year, so you can barely see it. But anyway, notice that this quick Y and compare didn't show up. That's because I've coded it so that it only looks at the stuff that's in the to-dos here in the archive. So the extension adds this on there, the to-do plus extension. But the format of how these to-dos are written is kind of specific to this hqTodo little web app. All right, so I added today. Oh, and then if I want to add a high priority to something, it just gets marked in red over here. That's all. And if I wanted to, I could add subnotes under here. Got help from so and so or whatever. And it doesn't show up, anywhere over here. So the subnotes are hidden. Okay, let's see. Oh, the block tag. So the block tag here, if you put a block tag with a form that it's blocker and who's blocking you, it sticks it up here in the blockers. And if you click on it, it'll show you who you're waiting from. So you're waiting an email response from Chris and a Slack response from Robin, just to know, what's going on. And then this is a link. So these things right here uses the link me extension, and I'll show you who made that in a sec. Actually, let me show you that. It's made by someone named Willie Bender. It's kind of cool, but I'll show you how to set that up in a second. So you can follow the link to whatever it's linked to. So I set it up so that this shortcut goes to my repository, issue 21, and so it just links like that. So you can put links in there. So that's what this link does. It links to the same spot. If you don't have, like this high one doesn't have a blocker, the link is directly from the Gantt chart itself. Okay, so that's links. And the block tag. I didn't show you the vacation. If you do something in this format right here, a number of days starting when it starts and what it is, it'll be right here. And it'll, depending on when it starts, it'll insert it into your, let's say we were starting on the 26th, our vacation, it would insert it here. And it spans weekends, so that's why it looks like it's so long, but it's not, right? So let's just get that at the bottom when I'm starting vacation. All right, so that's the link me extension. And so now we're going to get into how we set this thing up. Okay, so this is using the To-Do Plus extension by Fabio Spampanato, I guess. And it's the best to-do plugin I've seen on VS Code at this moment. It's still being maintained off and on. There's a lot of other extensions with the same name and similar names, but this one, not only does it track to-dos here, but if you have to-dos in your projects, wherever you mention to-do in a comment in your code, for example, it will show you your comments and notes, and if I put a to-do in my code, it would show a section for to-dos. So that's really handy, and that's called the embedded feature of to-dos. But we're looking at the to-do list right here, looking at a to-do file that I do for all my stuff, not just my code. And then this link me extension is written by Willie Bender here, this guy. You create a little settings file, or you put these in your settings file for VS Code, and it will do some regular expression searching so that you don't have to type out a full link. Like if I were to type, https google.com, VS Code will automatically link to that, right? Yeah, open it over there. Okay. But a lot of times you'll have a long formed link like a GitHub issue, and it's easier to just do a shortcut. So link me just basically allows you to make shortcuts. So this is Well, first let me show you the settings for VS Code. So these are the to-do settings I've done. You can use, I've only changed the colors, basically. I didn't even need to put these tag names in here because I'm using the default tag names. And this date stamp is the same. So the only thing that needs to be in here is this for the link me. The colors are just to demonstrate, why the colors look the way they do. But yeah, so this is how link me works. I have this long thing, but it replaces whatever's here with over here, and it replaces the repository and the issue with the repository and the issue here. And that would be for something like this, where I have a different repository, not my repository, going over there. So that's how that works. Okay, so that was the settings in the VS Code setting file, but now this is the hqTodo project up on GitHub, and I explained that in the README. All the things that I talked about in this video are explained in the README of how to actually use this little plugin here. And this is the setup for that. So you have to, for the link me to work, you have to take a rule, because this sets it up so that you can link it from here, and then this sets up link me so that you can link it from here. So that's why there's two setups for link me. But that, of course, is optional if you don't care about linking. Okay, and I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, I did want to talk about how it's set up. It's an NPM program that you just run, and I set it up using PM2 on a server, this hqTodo, and I have this shared with Google Cloud or Dropbox or something like that, where I work on it on my workstation, and I have this set up on a server to serve it out, to my manager and my team and whoever's interested in knowing what's going on in my life. And if they have something that I'm not working on, that I need to get it on my to-do list, they can contact me and say, dude, you're not working on this, or okay, I see you're going to work on what I'm doing a couple of weeks from now. That's cool. That kind of thing. So that's the whole purpose of this. It's not just for me, but it's for people on my team and my manager. But I mainly wrote it for me so that I know how long it takes to get this stuff done. This project is over here on GitHub, and it's a mess. So if you want to contribute, that's up to you. But yeah, if you look at the code, it's not using any frameworks. It's just a little app. But it's explained here how to use it. So yeah, I guess that about wraps it up. And thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.